images coming into CNN shedding light on the speed of President Trump implementing his immigration agenda. The White House has just released these images, migrants lined up, handcuffed, and led onto a military aircraft. We should note CNN cannot independently confirm the details because our crews were not there on the ground when these images were being captured. CNN White House correspondent Priscilla Alvarez is here to talk about this. Priscilla, what are we learning about these flights? And we should note, we were just showing this a few moments ago, those images were tweeted out or posted by the White House press secretary. So this is coming from the White House.
That's right. This is part of their show of force after the president signed his executive order declaring a national emergency at the U.S. southern border. Now, if we can bring the photos up again, because I do want to point out what's different here. It is the use of military aircraft that marks a difference from the way this was handled before. Now, you see there a line of migrants. They are arrested as they are handcuffed as they are boarding the plane. That part of this is actually quite typical when it comes to immigration and customs enforcement and the way that they would board one of their deportation flights. But again, what is notable in this image is of that military aircraft. Now, I am getting some details from a Homeland Security official who tells me that it was about 75 to 80 migrants from Guatemala, and they were bound for Guatemala. We are now getting updates from an organization on the ground in Guatemala that is putting out stills of these arrivals. So this story is quickly developing. But in addition to that, we also know they were recent border crossers. So they were in Border Patrol custody and they were in the El Paso sector. Now, the Pentagon has said that they were sending this military aircraft to El Paso and to San Diego. So we'll see if more of these flights continue. But Jim, just to broaden this out a little bit, the situation at the U.S. southern border is relatively quiet, far more than it was even over the last several months. So about 1,100 to 1,300 people crossing a day versus the 4,000, 6,000 and up that we were seeing in recent years. So this is an effort to really clamp down on the U.S. southern border, even as border crossings where they are right now are lower than they were in recent years. Interesting. All right, Priscilla, stay with me. I want to bring in CNN contributor and New York Times journalist Lulu Garcia-Navarro. Lulu, good to see you. Your reaction to seeing these photos from the White House, they say that are military planes deployed for these deportations. And I guess one of the things that we should talk about, shouldn't the White House or the administration be giving some kind of access to independent journalists so we can witness this firsthand as opposed to getting these takeouts from the White House?
I mean, I think press access for this is going to be very important. But I think we also need to really try and get context and understand what is happening and what is different than what we are seeing before. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, came out with a statement that said that they had arrested 538 people yesterday. And that is about double what we have seen previously. So indeed, we are now seeing stepped up enforcement. There has been some allegations that they are going into private places and not using warrants. That is illegal. So again, is that different? What are we seeing that is actually different? And that's going to be the thing that's going to tell us if this is actually effective, who they're targeting, and where are they targeting people. One of the concerns about this is that they're really going to be targeting people in blue cities and blue states. That is different than what we saw during the first Trump administration, where they were doing raids in North Dakota and red states and rural areas. This seems to be targeted in places that are blue states. So what does that tell us? Does that tell us that this is politically motivated, that they're trying to instill fear in immigrant communities in blue areas as opposed to red areas? You know, all of these things, as we're looking at this enforcement operation, we have to really think about what it means and what is the administration actually trying to achieve.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about what took place in Newark, New Jersey in just a few moments. But Lulu, I do want to ask you, the president has ordered the Pentagon to surge 1,500 active military troops to the southern border. We're also seeing these new images of military support away from the border. These are from Camp Pendleton in California. These are from New Mexico, some other images we can show you. And we're now learning that more soldiers are preparing for possible deployment to the border. And so, I mean, Lulu, this is something that, is a bit of a departure from what we've seen in the past. And